Are you well?
I'm okay, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Take a seat. This is my brother Talib.
Hello.
And my mum's just sleeping around the corner.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. So you've spoken at some length to Cllr, I know, in Imran's office, haven't you?
That's correct, yes.
I mean, the question really is what you want us to do.
Okay, alright. I understand.
So you've a complicated case that goes back quite a long way.
Yes.
And obviously involves the courts and the proceeds of crime and all of that sort of stuff. We're somewhat limited in terms of interfering in court things.
Yeah, well, I don't think so, because the reality is that all this has been instigated by the council. Do you understand? It's a council's case. There was no police involvement. You know how normally happens, there's an allegation. An allegation gets taken to the police, who independently investigate a potential allegation. For example, I can make an allegation today, you understand? I then raise that as a complaint to the police investigate that, and the purpose of the investigation is to find if there's any substantial evidence that they could gather in order to corroborate that allegation. That then gets passed on to the Crown Prosecution Service, saying that is it in the public interest to pursue this? Is there enough evidence? That's a normal process. All that's been bypassed in our circumstances. Ultimately, the local authority have both been the complainant, the alleged victims, the prosecutors, and the ultimate beneficiaries. So, I'm just trying to, I still struggle to get my head around how this has all happened. But let's focus in on what you just said, is what can we do as a councillor?
What can I do? That's right.
Let's focus in on what you can do as a councillor. My own issue with regards to the local authority, and it's complicated. Yes, I agree with you. But ultimately, I'm here today not to speak to you in my own capacity. I'm here to speak to you in the capacity of my brother Talib here and my mum. So let's focus in on these two individuals rather than on my complexity. Because obviously the reality is that these are two vulnerable adults that obviously are your constituents. And I would like you to spend this session today, rather than focusing on me, because as you can appreciate, my situation is complicated. Let's just focus on these two individuals, alright? Because obviously they're vulnerable people. Number one, my brother here has mental health problems. My mother there is a dementia sufferer and a stroke victim. As it presently stands, and I think I've highlighted this to yourselves, that they've got no access to any money. Alright? So that is something that really needs to be addressed.
I agree.
That cannot be acceptable, because look, Mr. Greenwood.
Ian's fine.
Ian. Listen, Ian. The reality is that the reason I've gone to court, the reason that all this court proceeds of crime act and everything, is that obviously you're not privy to what happened in court. They're saying that, well, you didn't give them access to them, unfettered access to their money, benefit money, and that's why we're going to take you to court, and that's why we're going to do all this other stuff. So that was the gist of it. That's the gist of the case. The gist of the case is that you were getting benefit money and you deprived them of their benefit money. Now,
so you're their ongoing carer.
Yeah.
But then they're not getting any benefit then.
No. So let me just finish. So
Sorry.
So how can it be that if I do something, it's a criminal crime, okay, that I've obviously been convicted for and I've lost so much, but when you do it, the council does it, it's not a crime. I don't understand how that law works. If I come and steal something, it's a crime, but if you, the local authority, do it, it's not a crime. So the focus right now, Ian, is this, that they are not getting access to their benefit money. Now, that is the circumstance that it's not myself. I'm ultimately now being fully depleted of my costs, fully depleted of all money, and I'm having to support them. Now, my only income, Ian, is £62 a week. £62 a week, that's it, Ian. And that is less money than I would get if I was claiming on the dole. Alright? So we as a family have to survive on a total income of £62 a week.
Which is unsustainable.
Which is unsustainable, yes.
I mean, I think we need to deal with this step by step.
Yes.
What I think I need to do is write to the council, say I've spoken to you,
Yes.
I've met your two vulnerable relatives.
Yes.
It's clear to me that they have no access to income, to benefits.
Yes.
That's clearly not right.
Yes.
What is the situation? Why aren't they getting benefits? And I would urge that they do get benefits as
Yes.
soon as possible.
Now, let me explain why that is the case. So let me just look into it a bit.
I mean, can I just say before you do?
Yeah.
I mean, it's extremely important to simplify rather than complicate at each step. That's not to say you don't deal with each step, but the first thing is that.
Okay, well, I agree with you. I mean, ultimately, it's the liability of the local authority if they themselves have criminalized a particular caring activity for them to do it themselves.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just making sure.
By all means, make some notes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the first thing. I mean,
Sorry, what's he sitting there for cotton? Shazad?
Hussein.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, which has perplexed me to this day, and maybe you can shed some light on this, is with regards to. But let me explain to you. Just only yesterday, well, what was it? Well, Saturday. On the 24th, Thursday, I was in court again, and the reason I was in court was that Npower wanted to gain access to my property to check the meter, or to do with the meter and stuff. The unpaid bills. So in order for a company to gain entry into my property, they have to go to the courts to get an entry warrant.
And yeah, unless there's an imminent danger, yes.
Yes. So they have to get an entry
warrant. If the thought that the gas company can break in because but that's very rare.
But the point I'm trying to make is that if anybody else wants to gain entry into my house, they have to get a lawful warrant.
Yeah.
Alright, that was my understanding of the law. So if somebody wants to come into my house, they have to get an entry warrant, and then if they want to search my property, they have to get a search warrant. That's a layman's understanding. However, on the 17th of December 2013, Bradford Council came to my house and arrested me for fraud. Okay, that was on the 13th of December 2013. And I said, yes, I'm quite happy to come down to the station. I thought it was the police because they had been accompanied by the police. Now, after I had been arrested and taken to the police station, it was not the police that had questioned me, it was fellow council employees that had questioned me. Now, subsequently, what happened is, while I've been detained at the police station, being interviewed by council employees, my mum and my brother here are two vulnerable people that don't know what's going on. And in the panic of things, my mum has tried to close the door because she was feeling cold, and tried to take her own keys because she didn't want somebody to take them. And as a result of this, there's been a scuffle between the police and my mother where she sustained some injuries. Now, moving forward from this, the council employees then took the liberty of searching my property. Okay? And then the council employees went to my bedroom and removed the safe from my bedroom. Okay? And just took it away. Now, subsequently, when I've been released, I've asked for the legality of this. How is it possible that you come to arrest me? The power of arrest the police have, yes, but in essence, you the investigators have arrested me and questioned me at the police station.
Has that been raised in any of the court cases?
No, it hasn't. No. But please allow me to finish, and I'll tell you what point I'm trying to make, because I'm leading up to a point here. Now, what's happened is that so my property has been searched. Property has been taken away. Now, inside the safe was my mum's jewellery. My mum has entrusted me with her jewellery. So the safe has been taken. Now, to this date, I have no whereabouts of where that safe is. I am told that the local authority have it in custody, in their custody. But that property is not part of the proceedings of the the criminal case or anything. That's my mum's jewellery that you, the local authority, have taken. I would argue otherwise because when I've raised questions about this here, I said, what powers gives you, the local authority, to come into my house, to arrest me, to search my property, to confiscate some of my property? And they said, well, we've done it under PACE. Alright, and I said, well, what is PACE? PACE is a power granted to the police. Now, as you can understand, you've been in the local authority for a long time, there's something called jurisdiction. Now, for example, that power has been granted to the police under specific circumstances. And those specific circumstances are such that if the police apprehend somebody or have the suspicion that somebody in the vehicle is taking drugs, or there are some weapons in the vehicle, they technically can't enter that property or vehicle by law because that's not their jurisdiction. They can only do that once they have reasonable suspicion to arrest somebody, and then they can carry out the search. So there has to be an element of reasonableness. Now what concerns me is that a court order was granted to the local authority to freeze my assets. What I'm concerned about is why at that stage, knowing full well that they were going to come and arrest me and that their intention was to search the property, why not at that stage go to the judge and say, look, we would like you to grant this order to under the Proceeds of Crime Act to restrain all the gentleman's assets. We would also like you to grant us power of entry and a search warrant. It wouldn't have been a problem.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only way to resolve that is I mean, I can ask about the safe.
Yes. And the jewellery, particularly jewellery, you see, because
the only way to resolve it though would be legally, I suspect. And I'm not saying that for certain.
Yes.
But I think that would be the only way to resolve it legally.
Yes.
It's through the legal process.
Yes.
I mean, I think in the first instance, what I need to do is to start the ball rolling.
Yes.
And say, with two vulnerable adults here that are not getting any benefit at all.
Not benefit at all. No.
You know, what steps have the local authority, who are aware of the two vulnerable adults, taken to ensure that they are properly supported by payment of benefit? In a sense, whether you did something right or wrong is irrelevant to that.
Yes, that's right.
You know, and I mean, I think I should probably met that point at some point.
Yes.
And what I'll do is I'll are you on email?
Yes.
What's your email?
I already emailed you.
Oh, sorry, yeah, of course you have, yeah, sorry. Yeah. I'll do that by email. Big Tuesday, Wednesday, you know, because Monday's a bank holiday.
Yeah, not a problem.
And I think once we get a response to that, we can start then to move towards the other things.
Yes.
I think if you were to write, people make the mistake of encapsulating everything they have concerns about in one letter.
Yes.
And it looks as if you're just swamping them with complaints.
Yes.
And what you need to do is to concentrate in the first instance on the thing that has the current and most validity at this moment, and that is why I'm two vulnerable adults who the council know about got an income.
Yes. I mean, that is a primary concern. Obviously, this is what I've raised this up. Now, the reason my mum does not have access to her benefit money, because ultimately what happened is that I was my mum's appointee.
Yeah.
You understand what an appointee is? Yes. It's a DWP set.
Yeah, I understand.
Yes. So even though I've been prosecuted and convicted or whatever, I've always remained my mum's appointee up to a point of this March. Okay. So what I did was, unfortunately, my mum last year had a stroke.
Yeah.
She had a stroke in September. She was discharged in November. Subsequently, when she had a stroke, as part of my role as her appointee, I rung up the Department of Work and Pension and informed them of a change of circumstance. I said, look, can you stop making any further payments? Because my mum has gone into, obviously hospital. So they were aware of this. Now, subsequently, what's happened is that I've continued to tell them that there's some grey area here, because obviously the local authority were involved, my brother was involved, who's complicated the situation. I said, just hold on to the money. I don't want you to make any further payments. So all the mum's payments stopped at the end of December. They said, we're going to stop all further payments until we have an opportunity to investigate. All we require from you is a bank account where the money needs to be paid into. So for the month of January and February, we self-suspended our benefit pay, my mum's benefit payments. In February, I gave them new bank account details and asked them to make those payments. So some payments were made for the month of January and February at that time. Subsequently, behind the scenes, the local authority have got in touch with the Department of Work and Pension and have unilaterally removed my appointeeship. Now when I ring up, they say you're no longer the appointee. So I write...
Well, who are they saying is the appointee?
We can't give you that information. Because obviously once that appointee stops,
yeah,
you know, they are no longer obliged to give me that information. They can no longer discuss my case. So this has happened as a direct result of the local authority intervening and preventing my mum from gaining benefit money that she's entitled to. So this is not an omission. This is a deliberate act on the part of the local authority to unilaterally remove my appointeeship. Now, I've told the Department of Work and Pension, look, you surely have a process of deposing somebody as an appointee. They go, yes, we do. Ultimately, what happens is they write to the appointee and say, look, we have concerns about your role as an appointee. Answer these questions to us. Or there's a process. In our circumstances, what's happened is basically somebody rang up somebody in the DWP and said, look, just remove him. Now that is a power that's been removed, and I think that's very unlawful to do that, because subsequently that is what has caused my mum no longer to have access to her money. So let's just, does that make sense, Anthony?
Yeah. I mean, I think first of all, like I said, we simplify it. I asked the question, why aren't they getting the money?
Yes.
Right? And we see what response we get.
Yes.
At that point,
yes,
they'll no doubt make reference to the fact that you were no longer the appointee or something.
But I am the appointee.
No, if they say you're not,
yeah, that's right, yeah.
then I ask,
yeah.
What was the basis on which
yes.
that appointeeship was removed?
Yes.
In other words, you ask the questions one by one. You do not
what concerns me is I'm not dealing with it. You are part of it, as far as I'm concerned.
No, I'm a councillor, which is different.
Keep on, huh? Keep on, okay. So
Now, in this sort of situation, councillors have no power really. It's the appointed officers of the council that have the power to make the decisions, and they have to do it in accordance with procedures laid down by the council.
Yes.
But I've no power to say you cannot do that.
No,
I've power to ask questions and to interrogate them as to why they've taken the power and what basis they've done it.
Yes, I understand. My only concern is that obviously it's in regards to my brother Talib. He's not had access to his own benefit money since October last year. Alright? Now there's been a whole host of other things that have been going on that have restricted him of his rights. He does have capacity. My mum has capacity. You know, capacity is a very under the mental health act.
Yeah, I know what it means.
Yes. So both individuals have capacity. My mum has authorised me to be her appointee.
So they've been through the capacity test at some stage.
Well, no, I mean they still have capacity. That's not.
There's no doubt.
Yeah. So what ultimately is happening? What concerns me is that yes, I mean I understand your role. The only concern I have is that it's been such a long time, 6 months since October, yes, since March, in March, and I don't want to, as you know, there's always a bureaucratic process, and I don't want to get involved in that where yourselves write to them, they can take up to 28 days to reply.
They won't take 28 days to reply.
Does that kind of make sense? So that's the only issue I have concerns around that. Obviously, this is we're in a crisis situation. Basically, what the local authority have done is stripped me of all my resources. I've had a long ongoing relationship with the local authority since July 2000. So for the last 18 years, I have been closely working with the local authority, with the various departments, particularly adult social care. And the reason is, Ian, is because my father had dementia. I took on that responsibility from 2002 to 2009 when he died. I have another brother, Nazar Hussain, who died in 2014, who's who's had mental health problems since the early 80s. So we as a family are well known to the local authority because of our circumstances. They have known me personally since 2000, and I just believe that how the local authority what they're doing is very vindictive and persecuting me because of the fact that I have known them a long time, and most of these people, Ian, you have to understand, because I've known them, at some stage I've lodged complaints about them.
Right.
And I just feel that they've just been acting in a vindictive manner towards me. The reality is coming back.
Who's dealing with it now? Who's the senior officer dealing with it now?
Well, the only person in the council that I have been dealing with is my mum's social worker. As far as my brother Talib is concerned, there's nobody. Everybody's disappeared now.
Right.
But the most senior person the person I've been liaising with is Annie Bateson. She is works for adult social care, and she's my mum's social worker. Now, in addition, but she is managed by Denise Dawkins, who in herself is managed by Najim Salim, all in adult social services elderly department. Yeah. So,
okay.
So these people, each one of these people I've complained about in the past, but irrespective, the focus has always has to be these two individuals.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I mean, this is going to take some time, obviously, to resolve. I will write about the benefit on
benefit and my mum's jewellery.
Well, we'll write about the benefit first.
Okay.
See what response we get. I think I might put the thing about appointee in, because that's relevant to the benefit.
Yes.
And see what response I get, and we'll take it from there. Because if they tell me there's another appointee.
Well, I can assure you there is no other appointee.
Well, it depends what process they've been through, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The trouble is that they would probably say, if they remove you as an appointee at that moment, they're not obliged to tell you what they do, full stop.
Yes, they are. That's what the DWP say. But I have managed to gain some information from them because that's quite a substantial amount of money. I want to just, like I said, I want to simplify it. I don't want to deal with any of the money that was prior to December last year, because there's other controversial issues regarding access to my mum's money. Let's just focus on this year.
Yeah.
January and February we self-suspended. We received some of the money. Then I would like to know specifically under what powers, because the local authority have to work within law and procedures.
Yeah.
What powers have they used to unilaterally remove me as an appointee? Because my mum hasn't complained, there has been no procedure followed by the DWP. I would like to get to the bottom of what powers they have used to remove me as the appointee, because this has now resulted in my mum not having any benefit money.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah.
I'll do that Tuesday or Wednesday. Monday's a bank holiday, obviously, and we'll take it from there.
Okay, alright.
And what you see, you've been in court and stuff.
Yes.
So that they can talk about the court, but I am not just representing you, I'm representing your two,
Yes.
your mum and your brother.
That's correct.
And they're my constituents who are not receiving appropriate benefit.
Yes.
Therefore, I can just say it's irrelevant to me what's happened in terms of the court cases.
Yes.
I've got two vulnerable adults that are my constituents who aren't receiving the benefit that they should.
And with regard to the court case, I mean, if that is raised, why have I gone to jail for the very crime that they are doing now?
Well, in the first instance, I'll say that's not a matter that I'm raising with you at this moment in time. What I want to know is, why aren't two vulnerable adults in my ward getting appropriate support from the DWB and the council?
Yeah, well, that's the first point, the benefit money. Now, moving on to the second point, I mean, like I said, I don't want to overwhelm you, okay, and we're going to leave it at that.
Yeah.
But I just want you to be conscious of various other facts. Like I said, I want to take...
Oh, yeah, I'm happy to be conscious of stuff.
I just want you to be conscious of this, and we're going to end what we've agreed to now, that you're just going to write regarding the benefit, nothing else, maybe about the jewellery and the appointeeship, but that's what you're going to limit it. Because like you said, you don't want to overwhelm them. But I just want you to be conscious of some various other facts before you leave today. Now, the support that my mum's receiving, I have told the social workers that is inappropriate, and we are not happy with the support that the social workers that is currently going in. Now, I'll tell you what happens, Ian, is that when somebody goes into hospital, when they come out of hospital, the local authority primarily intervene and they provide a support package.
Yeah.
It's called Best Enablement Team.
Yeah.
So the local authorities best.
They do an assessment and they decide what's appropriate, and then they are supposed to put that appropriate support into place. Yes.
That's right. Yes. And that is at a maximum of 6 weeks. So that's a maximum. Alright? Most likely people are on the Best Enablement Team for about a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
And then they do an assessment of their ongoing needs and they put the ongoing support
That's right, yes.
yeah.
That's right. So that's how it's supposed to work. That's the Best Enablement Team is designed for 6 weeks maximum.
Yeah.
My mum's now been on the Best Enablement Team for over 6 months.
Right. Yeah.
Right? So if you can understand, if a car's designed to go on a motorway, it's not designed to go in the ocean.
Yeah.
Now, this is a concern for me because we keep on raising the point that this is not what we require, this is not appropriate, and the local authority have come to the agreement, yes. And what we say is that you have to take into consideration that my mum is elderly and she doesn't speak the language. So the language seems to be a major barrier between the it shouldn't be, you're right, but my mum is not going to all of a sudden start learning to speak English, and she shouldn't have to, but she has often having to deal with carers, and I want to say this right now from the outset, some of these carers do a fantastic job, so I'm not complaining about them, but the language is very, very important. Imagine you going to France and living your life.
No, they should be providing people who speak, I presume Urdu or Punjabi.
Right. So that's not taking place. On two separate occasions, male carers have come in and have once again lodged these as complaints.
That's culturally inappropriate.
Culturally inappropriate, yes, and they know this, but they still keep on doing this. So, first of all, the support package my mum is receiving is highly inadequate, not designed, not fit for purpose, and I've wrote all this to I've been writing to them myself, and it doesn't seem to have any weight to bear.
Yeah.
But more concerning than my mum's is my brother Talib. Now this is my brother Talib's life. He goes to bed, comes down here, sits here all day in this position, and then will go get up, have some to eat, go to the toilet, and then go back to bed. That is the extent of his life. Alright? Being sat in this position has resulted in him getting side pains.
Yeah.
Alright? He is not getting any support. Alright? And what you need to be made aware of, Ian, is that this person has mental health problems, and he's currently out on I'm not sure if you're aware of something called a Section 117 aftercare.
Yeah.
Are you aware of this?
Yeah.
Yes. So my brother's out in the community under the mental health Section 117 aftercare, and he's receiving nothing. And the reality is that whatever the local authority have prosecuted me for, i.e. failure to take money basically and not provide support to these people, that's once again exactly what's happening with Talib. How can it be that my conviction has not resulted in the betterment of these victims of my crime? In fact, they've been worse off for following my conviction.
Well, frankly, if they were so concerned about you, they could have taken court proceedings to make effectively, they don't call it a ward of court because they're adults, but they could take control of the affairs completely into the council's hand if they went to court and they were so concerned about you. And I wonder why they haven't done that.
Because in the court the judge decided that there has been no issue with regards to abuse other than financial.
Right.
So there's no
get that. Yeah.
So obviously, if I have been abusing them in any way, neglect. So the reality is that as it currently stands, they are using my labour to utilize for their benefit, because if they had been awarded, does that make sense? Yes.
Yeah.
My family members, they love me. They themselves have given me their money because, as you can understand, I've been doing this for a very long time, and culturally, you can understand. And with hindsight, it shows that my mum didn't want to go into care, so she's entrusted all her worldly possessions to me. So has my brother, on the proviso that I don't take the money and start my own life. And that is exactly what's happened. I have stayed here, and as far as I'm concerned, I've helped and assisted them. And without me, Ian, they cannot operate.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Leave it with me then. I'll do that on, like I said, Tuesday or Wednesday. I'll
Yes.
copy you in, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
The reality is that this is unacceptable.
Yeah.
Because, obviously the local
Oh.
authority are increasing their own liability by doing this.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming
Okay.
back
No, it's a
today.
pleasure.
Yeah.
Pleasure. What you elected me for?
Yeah, that's right. Do you live close by?
I'm just living in Windhill. It's just down. It's you know Rose Road. You go down at the Shipley, just down halfway down the hill.
Okay,
Yeah.
right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hopefully we can get some resolution.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
See you later.
Bye bye now.
How long you lived here?